There's a moment every parent knows all too well. You're exhausted. Your baby won't stop crying. You've tried everything. And then you remember the phone. You hand it over. And within 2 seconds, silence fills the house. It feels like magic. But what your baby's brain is doing during those quiet minutes is not what you think. Because that silence isn't focus. It isn't learning. And it isn't because your baby is carefully paying attention to a cartoon. And what most parents don't realize is that this isn't just about screen time. It's about what's happening behind the screen. It's about the damage that may be happening inside your child's brain during those minutes, minutes that often turn into hours, spent in front of a screen. Today, we're facing a kind of screen epidemic, with children having unrestricted access to screens from the moment they are born. And I'm not just talking about the obvious things: cartoons, Cocomelon, educational apps for young children. I'm talking about the phone propped up during meals, the TV constantly playing in the background, the tablet handed over for 5 minutes that turns into an hour, and the research coming out now. And by that I mean studies published in the last 5 years using brain scans of real children is showing us something parents were not being told 10 years ago. The American Academy of Pediatrics now recommends 0 screen time for babies under 18 months. 0. Now, if your baby has already watched screens, please don't beat yourself up. Almost every parent has done it. The research is not about one single moment. It's about the repeated pattern over time. What this video is going to do is show you exactly what happens inside your baby's brain when they watch screens, and what you can give them instead, something that helps build the kind of brain we actually want them to have. Here's what is really happening when your baby stares at a screen and suddenly goes quiet. It's something called a passive attention state, and to understand that, you need to understand how different a baby's brain is from yours. Inside a baby's brain, there is a powerful reward system driven by dopamine, and every time the screen shows a new color, a new sound, a new face, that system lights up and says, "Wait, this is much more interesting than real life. Pay attention to this." Now here's the strange part. And maybe you've never thought about it this way before. You probably look at your baby watching the screen and think, wow, they're so focused. They're really paying attention. This must be good for their brain. But that's not what's happening. The brain is not focusing, it's being hijacked. Because real focus, the kind of focus babies need to develop, takes effort. It takes processing. It requires the brain to actively choose what to pay attention to. Screens take that choice away. And by that I mean, instead of your baby's brain learning how to focus, it is learning how to be focused by something else. And there is a huge difference. So if screens are not building focus, what does? The answer is something researchers call serve and return interaction. And it's exactly what it sounds like. Your baby makes a sound, you respond, they smile. You smile back. They reach for something. You name it. Every one of those tiny back and forth moments activates thousands of neural connections in your baby's brain. Connections that screens simply cannot create. And here's the part most parents don't know. A study by Hutton and colleagues at Cincinnati Children's Hospital used MRI scans to look at the brains of preschool-aged children. And they found that children with higher screen exposure had less developed white matter in the parts of the brain responsible for language and attention. And by that I mean the actual physical wiring of their brains was less developed. We're not just talking about behavior, we're talking about brain structure. The brain does not get those years back. The first 3 years of life are the fastest period of brain development a human being will ever experience. Every minute spent in passive attention is a minute that was not spent in active brain building. But here's the encouraging part. And I want you to hear this clearly. It doesn't take much. Studies have shown that just 15 minutes a day of focused, face-to-face play can produce measurable improvements in language development, attention span, and emotional regulation. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to entertain your baby for hours. You just have to be present and put the phone down. Hutton's team didn't just compare children who watched screens with children who didn't. They created something called a screen Q score, a specific scale that measures how deeply screens are integrated into a young child's daily life. Things like, does the child have access to a screen in the bedroom? Do they watch screens during meals? Are they exposed to background TV? Then they ran MRI scans on those children's brains. And what they found was that children with higher screen Q scores had measurable differences in white matter integrity, specifically in the brain pathways involved in language, executive function, and early literacy. And by that I mean the pathways babies use to learn how to talk, how to focus, and eventually how to read. Those pathways were physically less organized. Those changes were not just behaviors. They were not just habits. They were structural. The brain itself was different. Now, you're probably wondering, is this reversible? And the honest answer is, we don't fully know yet. What we do know is that the early years build the foundation for everything that comes later. So even if some of it can be repaired later, why would we want our children to rebuild something we could have helped build correctly from the beginning? Another reason it can be hard for parents to realize their children are becoming dependent on screens is that the signs of too much screen exposure in babies don't usually look like screen addiction. They look like normal parenting frustrations. They look like a baby who melts down the moment the screen is turned off. A baby who can't entertain themselves for 5 minutes. A baby whose eye contact is brief. A baby who responds to colorful sounds and movement, but not to your voice. Much of the behavior we call difficult in babies under 2 is actually a brain that has not received the right input to develop the regulation systems it needs. Now I need to talk about something that may be uncomfortable for some parents to hear. You may be thinking, but the videos my baby watches are educational. They teach colors, numbers, the alphabet. That has to be different, right? I get it. The marketing is incredibly convincing. The apps are designed by developmental experts. The thumbnails are full of colorful letters and smiling cartoon babies. But the truth is, babies under 2 do not learn from a 2D screen the same way they learn from a real human being. This is called the video deficit effect, and it has been documented in dozens of studies since the early 2000s. Babies imitate and learn from a real person right in front of them. Show them the exact same action on a screen, and they often do not transfer that learning. And by that, I mean, even if educational videos are teaching colors with bright graphics and catchy songs, your baby's brain is not truly encoding that information the same way it would if you sat with them and pointed to those same colors in the real world. The educational part of educational content for children under 2, scientifically speaking, is not really happening. What is happening is that the dopamine system is being trained to expect fast stimulation that real life can never match. And that's why, after the screen turns off, real life can suddenly feel boring to your baby. It's not their personality. It's their brain calibrating to the wrong baseline. The brain does not fail to learn from screens. It learns the wrong thing. It learns to expect a level of stimulation that is impossible to find in real life. The instinct to give your baby something engaging when they're upset. That instinct is right. The screen is just the wrong tool for the job. So here are 4 things that will build your baby's brain better than any screen. And they are all things you can start doing today. Number 1, narrate your day. Whatever you are doing, changing a diaper, making coffee, folding laundry, talk through it. Now I'm putting your sock on. Look how soft it is. Babies learn language when we talk with them, not when a screen talks at them. Number 2, make silly faces. Sit in front of your baby. Make a face. Wait for them to try to copy you. Then make another one. This is one of the most powerful neural workouts your baby's brain can get, and it costs nothing but your presence. Number 3, simple toys. And by that, I mean toys that don't do anything on their own. A wooden block, a wooden spoon, a simple ball. The toy that lights up and sings teaches your baby to be entertained. The toy that sits quietly teaches your baby to imagine. Number 4, boredom. This one sounds wrong, but stay with me. Babies need unstructured, unentertained moments to develop the internal ability to focus. If every quiet moment is filled with a screen, that ability never gets built. Boredom is not damage. Boredom is where focus is born. If you want to start making changes today, here is a simple place to begin. 1. No screens during meals. Eating becomes a social and sensory experience again. 2. No background TV. The noise of the TV in the background reduces the amount of real human language your baby hears, even if nobody is watching. 3. Keep your phone in another room for the first hour after waking up and the last hour before bedtime. Start and end your baby's day with full presence. 4. When your baby is bored, wait 1 minute before stepping in. See what they can figure out on their own. You don't have to do all 4. Choose one. Start today.